What's cracking, YouTube? I'm coming at you today with another 3D print build. Last time I showed you guys my custom made dual disc. This print also has some LEDs included in it, but it's for a different anime entirely. I am currently working on, it's a work in progress, it's not finished yet, a sword that can perform the Sword of Hope move from Dragon Ball Super performed by Trunks. So I have it unscrewed right now. You guys can see that in the hilt, there's room for 4 batteries. And I'm going to go ahead and pop the hilt cover on. Wiring going through there. I 3D printed it with space for the wires to go through. And I'll show you where it turns on in just a second here. Let me just get this bad boy on. The only thing that's different from the original Sword of Hope is that when Trunks uses it in the anime, the hilt does glow. You can see I have kind of a complex hilt here. I made an attempt at printing it in the same clear plastic that I used for the blade itself, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was turning out to be way too much work. Not only was I having a hard time with getting the LEDs to a point where they were sort of installed correctly in a way where the light would transfer throughout the entire thing, but also it was really hard to put everything together as well. There were a lot of moving pieces to it, and it just wasn't coming out the way that I wanted it to, so I decided to back off on that. Making the blade glow has been a tough enough process. I do think it is going to work out pretty well. I have some more diffusing to do, and I'll go through that with you guys in just a second here. But in general, I am pretty happy with the progress that I've made so far and where we're at. So you can see the cover slips on nice and easy. Obviously, it's not painted yet. You won't be able to see that black there, but you can see the switch down there. Bam! And that is going to get our sword glowing. I haven't attached the tip yet, but I can attach that right now and show you guys what that looks like. Just by kind of holding it together. That's the next step. And I did have to print the blade into separate pieces. I basically printed just as tall as I could on my 3D printer, and it goes pretty high, but obviously it doesn't go this high. And you can't even see the line in between. I don't know if it's just because of the camera, maybe in person people will be able to see it, but it's not showing up too badly right now. The material that I used, or the binding agent that I used to hold that together was UV resin. It is a clear resin that goes on. It hardens very quickly if you hold it up to a UV light. I bought a UV flashlight online. It was super cheap. I think I got it for about like $8. The UV resin was pretty cheap as well. And it's a binding material that I can use that will hold it together with incredible sturdiness, but at the same time, when the lights come on, you won't be able to see that point where it's, bound together, because I need everything to be opaque. I need it all to be clear. Let me turn this off for a second just so I can show you guys how that process has been going. So I think you can see here on this side, kind of. This side has not been sanded. This side is just the clear plastic. You can see more of that lattice framework. If I flip it over, you can see that lattice is harder to see on this side, and it's because I've sanded this to make it opaque. Obviously, it's going to be painted as well, and that's going to help maintain the light inside of it, but it still is a good way to diffuse the light so that way it shines throughout. You can't really see in the video, and I'm guessing it's because it's so bright, but I can see it here as I'm holding it. I can see the individual LEDs through the sword. You can kind of see them up top there. They're those little individual pieces right there. You can definitely see it for sure, but it's just those little individual LEDs. And I want to make sure those don't show up in person when I turn it on as well. Now, let me slip the blade off and show you guys what we're working with here. So I printed everything in pieces, obviously for the rod here that holds the LEDs together. I also had to print that in a couple different pieces to put it together. And then it has a T-tip on top because I need to get the light shining through as much as possible. You could see it when I had it turned on. The tip doesn't quite glow. That might be fixed when I paint it because it might trap the light a little bit better and keep it contained in a way where it's going to direct the light upward. It's tough to say. If it doesn't, I'm still going to be happy with the final build because I think it's come out really well. But that is one of the reasons that I made that T-tip, was just to try and get more lights shining upward by having that extra space there. But yeah, I wrapped them around the rod here because that's a better way to get consistent light throughout. If you just do a strip up and down, there's going to be sections of the blade that are not receiving direct light. And especially because the blade is printed here in a triangle, you want to make sure that all sides are receiving light and it's not just like this part up top, like right here, and then the bottom down here, or just two sides of it, like this side right here and this side right here. You want the whole thing to have light going through it. Now you can see a little bit on the inside there. I did attach a base here, and that's why I printed my hilt in halves, I should say, so that I could fit that piece in. It's basically a stopper for the blade, so the blade can rest on there. That way it doesn't fall all the way in, but I needed that extra space to allow for the wiring to go through. If I didn't have the stopper in there, it'd be really hard to attach the blade in a way where it's going to not only stay in the sword when I'm swinging it around, but also in a way where it's not going to slide down. And I needed to make sure that it's going to stay in place around the rod itself too, so that the light is going to shine through correctly. If it was going to fall down or slide around, that would be a problem in itself. The wiring was really simple. This switch that I have right here that turns it on and off, I believe I got that on Amazon for maybe $2 or $3. And it's just a simple positive negative. So the basic gist of it is that, you can see I have 3 9-volt batteries in here. It actually takes 4. I took one out to light my dual disc that I posted previously. But with the 4 9-volt batteries, you're going to put the clip on that has, the cords coming out of positive and negative. You attach all the positive together, attach all the negative together. I believe it's the negative end that attaches to the switch, and then you attach the negative end from the LEDs to the switch as well. The positive end is going to go straight to the LEDs, and what happens is the switch is basically going to cut off the circulation of electricity when it's set to the off position. When I flick it on, it opens up that flow, and all of those LEDs are going to turn on and glow. This did also, like the dual disc, take a bit of planning to do. This was not as long as the dual disc though. I have the bigger 3D printer. It took a few attempts, but I got this done. Well, it's not done yet, right? But I've been working on this since probably August of last year. We'll say July, mid-July actually, I believe is when I started. It was the first print that I started with my 3D printer. I probably could have gotten it done faster, but of course life gets in the way sometimes and other things like that. And I made this not for a Trunks cosplay, but for my Pride Trooper Bebo cosplay, one of my Xenoverse characters. He exclusively uses a sword for battle, and I wanted to recreate his moveset from Xenoverse 2. And my ultimate, my signature ultimate, obviously, is the Sword of Hope. Awesome attack. Love seeing Trunks pull it off in the anime, but I wanted to recreate it in real life. I'm going to actually get going on finishing this off over the next few days. So as I go through that process and as it progresses, I'll be sure to upload more content, show it off to you guys. If you guys have any questions about 3D printing, if you want to see me go over my design online, you can see how I built everything, how I designed everything. Be more than happy to share it with you guys. If you have any questions, if you're working on your own kind of project that's similar to this, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I'd love to give you guys a hand with that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like seeing content like this, cosplay content like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.